Welcome to Killer Women with your host, best-selling author Danielle Girard. And now, Danielle's next killer woman.
Hello, and welcome to Killer Women Podcast, a proud member of the Authors on the Air global network with more than 4 million listeners. I'm your host, suspense author Danielle Girard, and my guest today is Manju Soni, pen name MJ Soni, is the author of short stories and Defying Apartheid, her part memoir about being a doctor activist in apartheid South Africa. Her debut mystery, the Masala Chai Mystery Club, is coming out now, and that is what we're here to talk about. Welcome, Manju.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you for having me.
It's so fun, and this is a really fun. I actually, this is one of those. It's less gory, it's sweet, it's more about the characters, and I really appreciated it. And there's a lot of themes in here that I actually really resonated for me. So before we dig into all that fun stuff, will you tell our listeners about the Masala Chai Mystery Club?
Okay, sure. So the Masala Chai Mystery Club is about a librarian, Niti Shah, who's been pushed into early retirement because of budget cuts in her little town. And so she's kind of at a bit of a loose end, not sure what to do. And then her neighbor, who's also a childhood friend of hers, falls down the stairs, and his death resembles that of their latest book club read, which is The Dumb Witness by Agatha Christie. And it is very suspicious, and she and her group of friends, her niece as well, start investigating. And they decide they're going to form a little club called the Masala Chai Mystery Club. So, he's the president of the homeowners association. So not a very likable fellow
Right, not a
sometimes.
popular position, and
Yes.
yeah, and he made he made some enemies for sure.
Yes.
Well, so first let's talk about, well, this is your debut. You've obviously written before, but this is your debut novel. So
Yeah.
tell us, so how did that happen? I think we have a lot of listeners who are writing their first books and hoping for publication. So is this the first novel you've ever written? Are there some that are buried sort of in the backyard or in shell, down in drawers, and that happens to all of us too. So tell us about your journey.
Right. So, I just started an evening writing class, and I couldn't get past my growing up under apartheid in South Africa. All the patients I had seen, who had suffered under apartheid. And so my writing teacher at the time, this very cute old lady, she was just amazing. She read a book a week or 2 books a week and chain smoked. Said to me, why don't you start writing fiction, write these in short stories, all your experiences. And so that's how I got into writing. And that was the result was my nonfiction book, which is about my growing up under apartheid in South Africa. And then I decided to write fiction, and I wrote I wrote thrillers, I wrote psychological suspense, domestic suspense, and finally, I even had an agent, but we weren't getting anywhere with this. And so I just decided I'm going to write what I want to write, and that's what happened. So yeah, the book is the result of that. Where is it?
Yes, you
There
have
it
it
is.
on your behind yourself.
I have it too. Yes.
It's a beautiful cover too. For those of you who are listening to us and can't see the cover, you got to go look because and I love like the very early descriptions of when she's dressing. I found myself like reading the description and then checking out her outfit to see if it was
Yes.
if it was the same colors and stuff. There is some bright pink that she describes wearing.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting. So you had written quite a bit before this book happened for you. So did you feel like you were writing to a market? Is that what you were doing before?
I think so. So my very first thriller was set in South Africa. It was a cold case related to apartheid as well. But it was a forensic geneticist because I'm always fascinated by genetics, even though it's not my field. My field is eye surgery, but that aside, I then pitched it at Thriller Fest, and 2 agents said to me that apartheid's not going to sell. So I'm like, so then I found myself kind of trying to write to a market. I was seeing what was published, what I liked, and started writing towards that. And yeah, I think it it didn't go anywhere, partly because my heart wasn't really in it. I wasn't in it. It was very much, distanced. And this one is much more closer to what I I would like, and it's pretty much inspired by my mom.
I
Um,
thought, yeah, that was cute. I saw that on your social media. I think you said something about that.
Yeah, so she had dementia and she kind of started forgetting people and I think I was trying to bring back the woman that she used to be, and she was very much like Niti, so and she was sorry every day of her life. So
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, so I mean, right. So the idea that, Niti gets, as you said, early retirement for Budget Catch and replaced by some young person, which was all sort of all the nightmare we, at our age we start to think about. But it is, so how did the story come to you? Was it sort of like, I mean, it's clearly you've got Agatha Christie, heavy, vibes of Agatha Christie and The Dumb Waiter, which comes into the book, The Dumb Waiter.
witness, right?
I'm thinking of the dumb, a dumb waiter. I don't know. My
A bad
brain.
idea though. A
Yeah,
body in a dumb waiter would be
exactly.
interesting,
That's for the next book. That's the next book is
right?
about the dumb waiter, the dumb witness. But also, these characters are obviously, first and foremost. So how did the story develop for you? Did you know you were going to sort of use Agatha inspiration?
Yes. Yeah, I think like so many mystery writers, I was reading Agatha Christie from the time I was a teenager. And she was always in the back of my mind. But then for some reason, I happened to read The Dumb Witness. And I'm like, I love the idea of the dog helping to solve the crime.
Yeah.
And so that I think that, and then I had heard all these horror stories of homeowners associations, and
Yeah.
there were so many. And then, oh my God, I went down this rabbit hole on Reddit about homeowners associations.
Oh, for sure. Right.
And I have to say, mine is wonderful. I live in very much a community like that, but
Okay.
my homeowners association is very relaxed. They fine, they not like this. But I was intrigued by all these stories, and I thought, ooh, this could get bad. So
Yeah. So are you somebody who sort of maps out a plot? How did that part happen?
yeah, I'm because this is my debut. I'm still trying to work out what my process really
Right.
is.
Right.
Um, but what I'm finding now is that I have to have a sort of outline, and I usually know how it's going to end. But when I start writing, I start letting the characters talk,
Hmm.
and they become much more real if I let them just talk.
Yeah.
And so when I start writing, it's usually like dialogue. And then yes, I then they usually reach a point where they don't know what to say. And
Right.
they like looking around, like wondering what we should do
They don't
next.
have a plan. Right. Right.
Yeah. So that's when I have to go back to the outline. So I'm kind of both pantser and
Yeah.
plotter in a way.
And is that how this book sort of started? Did you hear sort of Nietzsche talking in your voice in your head or
Yeah, I could see her in the mirror, when she's getting dressed in the beginning. And I was like, yeah, she's one badass lady. She doesn't tolerate fools easily.
right? Right.
So, yeah, she wasn't so much talking as just being there.
Yeah.
Peggy was doing a lot more talking, her good friend. And I loved the idea of these two women having this long-standing friendship.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the older we get, the more we need our girlfriends. I think that's
Yeah,
so key, especially when these, she doesn't have her partner's gone, right? Her
right.
husband's. So, no, I love Peggy too, and she's useful as the local vet, so she has some
Exactly. She has some
helpful.
medical knowledge.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's so true. And so what was the process like once you wrote this book, and then you obviously found an agent, and what was that process like, the submission and the agent, and did you do edits with your agent? Was
Oh,
that
yes.
yeah,
Yes. My agent, Jessica Faust. So I had submitted to Jessica almost every other book I'd written before, the thrillers and everything. And clearly it was not something that she really connected with.
yeah,
But this one, for some reason, she did. And I think because it's cozy and, it was, but then she emailed me and said, let's have a chat. We chatted and she's like, I need you to do an R&R. So what is that? A rewrite and resubmit or
yeah,
something?
yeah,
And I'm like, really? Okay. Yes. So I did that, and then she said, "Fine, let's sign it." So she signed me, but then she had me rewrite it three three more times.
Yeah.
Mainly because I have this thing where I like to give every character equal airtime,
Oh,
which doesn't work in a book. Obviously, there has to be one protagonist. And so every version, I kept taking more and more
yeah.
characters. I started off with six, ended up with two.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it. They took a while. It took about 6, 8 months
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you sold it to Crooked Lane, did you do additional revisions with them?
Yes, but thankfully my editor wasn't, she's very sweet and very insightful. But by that time, I think it had been so thoroughly cleaned up, the edits weren't so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is, I mean, I think that's the process. Like when you write something and you rewrite it 8 or 10 times before it even gets to an editor.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, and I mean every version
yeah.
made it better. So
Yes.
I'm not complaining in a way because I think, that's what it takes. Yeah.
It does. I mean, this is a business. This is not for the faint of heart or or the people who are apt to quit because, yeah, it's a long, long road. So what
Yeah.
are you most excited about, for this release?
I don't know. I'm just excited for other people to read it and to get to know these characters and the world that they and I am keen to know what people think. So I don't read my reviews. Initially I did and I was like, oh, you
Yeah.
know, and then excuse me, all my author friends said don't do that.
Yeah.
So I try not to, but occasionally, like once every month or so, I go in and do a quick and I really just want people to get to know them and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm working on the next one, so I don't know. I'm excited to create this whole world and these people in it.
So are you doing, is this the start of a series? Are we going to see Needy
I'm
go?
hoping so. I'm straight waiting to hear back from my editor, but yes, I'm planning for it.
That's so exciting. That's so exciting. So it's out in the world. And I mean, so what do you think makes it more comfortable? I mean, so you should have had done these sort of dark, like suspense thrillers. It made it sound like those books might have been a little bit darker. Well, obviously dealing
Yeah.
with apartheid, that would have made them darker. So what is it, what appeals to about this sort of cozy world?
I think all the things that make cozy so cozy. There's no graphic violence. There's everyone's a little nice.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think yeah, it's a puzzle. You're solving a puzzle rather than there is a little bit of suspense. I couldn't resist that. But it's not life-threatening suspense in a
right,
way.
right.
But yeah, and I think I don't know, it's at times, sometimes that's all you need. It's just a little, to settle down with a cup of chai and a good book that
Yeah.
won't be too emotionally taxing.
Yeah, yeah, especially since the world feels more taxing these days, right?
Yeah.
So once you had Needy, you said you originally had sort of six. Were you in, are these six of the characters that we already know and you were in their points of view and that's
Yes.
okay. So you were
That's
giving everybody, like you said,
everybody. Even Rohit, the victim, was
yeah.
like he had his own chapters, and then Tandy and Peggy. I don't know. It was just too much.
Yeah, yeah. I think there is something to that. I mean, there are lots of books that do sort of, really do a lot of points of view, but I do think it's important for the reader too to know, like, who am I
Yes.
really following and rooting
Yeah.
for here? So, and did I'm always curious to know, was there any part of the process where you were sort of like a character appeared to you and you're like, had no idea kind of where he or she came from?
Yeah. Tandy.
Okay.
Tandy is this like South African woman. She's
Yeah.
boisterous. She's over the top,
Yeah.
and she reminded me so much of so many women I had met back home. And I worked in hospitals there, and a lot of the nurses were like that. They
Yeah.
just had to be very strong and sometimes very loud.
Yeah,
But
she's a filmmaker and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So Tandy was just like the way she spoke. It's very South African with a lot of exclamation marks, and you could just picture her like. Um, Yeah, so she totally appeared
out of nowhere. I know.
out
I
of
kind of love when that happens. You do think, oh my God, this is so, my subconscious must be working on this because I have no idea where this person came from.
absolutely.
And it's interesting. I mean, so, and also that she's a filmmaker, right? Because it's another
Yeah,
job where you sort of powers of observation and makes for a
right.
good detective.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's a forensic accountant, so she brings those skills, but
Right.
she is absolutely, I don't know, quite insightful in her way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of philosophical sometimes.
Yeah. Well, there's also the one of the themes of the book I thought was sort of the idea of sort of found family or created family. I mean,
Right.
obviously, Niti's, niece is with her,
Yeah.
Myra and Myra's son live with her. But for the most part, these people are all people that, she's a community that she's created. And that I think is a really like sort of deep and wonderful theme. Is that something that, you knew you were exploring or just happened?
No, no, I do. I feel like sometimes I live in a I live in Mystic, Connecticut, so it's a very small town,
Mm.
and it's predominantly white in a way. And so I think I looked at the latest census, and there are only about 10 Asian Americans in Mystic, and I think I know all of us 10.
Right. I'm sure
So
you
I'm,
do. Right.
but I live in a great neighborhood and I have really good friends. And so I wanted to create that a little more diverse, but that sense of community and that you do get in these small associations and towns. But I wanted to expand it to include people of various cultures and
Right. Not quite so
ethnicities.
white. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is, I mean, I think that's lovely. Like, I think I think we all can use more different, diverse
right.
voices and
Yeah, and it's like the only way that you can really get to understand someone else's perspective is, fiction is pretty much the way.
it is.
Um, so yeah, I think that was kind of it. I really wanted to project that. Like, let's get to know other people, not
Yeah.
let's expand our definition of community.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that. And do you in the book that you're sort of the follow-up book, will it be, is it the same cast of characters? Do we meet, there's probably some new ones. Has that been fun?
Yeah, it's still very early, so it's the same group. They're still the same club, but I'm thinking this one I want to set at an Indian wedding. um, on an island just off the coast of New England.
Okay.
So we have quite a few islands off the coast of Connecticut, and I'm like, what if there was a wedding on one of these? And Indian weddings are like drama, right? And they like 2, 3 days
Yeah.
sometimes. So there's a lot of people spending a lot of time together.
Yeah. And it can go really, I'm sure things can go
Yeah,
really sideways. So, well, that's so fun. Well, I'm curious to know about when you do, when you were doing sort of a lot of this stuff, obviously you knew, was there any part of this that was research heavy for you? Like, was there things that you didn't
yeah.
procedural that, what were the things you sort of had to figure out?
Well, I find that yeah, like the details of how the murder happened, I spent a lot of time. So I had to look into, I don't want to, no
Yeah, no
spoilers.
spoilers.
So,
Yeah.
exactly. So, I had to do a lot of research around the details. And then there's a bigger plot of why the murder happens.
Right.
And so the details around that. So, it was more online research than actually going any place. But I did speak to an FBI agent about things. So, yeah,
That's so fun.
yeah, it is fun. I was surprised that he even, replied to my email. But
Well, no, I'm always amazed too. I think they also are interested in making sure that, we present their world
yes,
in an accurate manner. So
yeah,
if you say, I want
exactly.
to get this right,
Right.
I think they tend to be pretty generous with their time. And
Yeah,
I have found, over the years.
yeah.
Now,
I
are you
also
still,
did call up an undertaker
oh, did
local.
you?
Yeah. And he was like, "Why are you calling
Yeah.
me?"
But you're like, I'm a novelist.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he was helpful too.
Good, good. And now are you still practicing?
No, 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 no. When I moved to so I practiced in South Africa and the UK, and then when I moved here, I would have had to do my residency and all that again. So I didn't. I moved into, by that time, I was already working for Five. I was developing drugs for the eye. Um, excuse me. And then Yeah, and then I left and I started consulting in biotech, but then writing just took over.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, I write about surgical things, killing people.
So do you do non-fiction writing as well? Is that what you mean?
No, no,
No, you just
not
so your
anymore.
fiction is so how do you is there do you have a structure to your days? Are you, do you
Yeah.
have like a time that works the best for you to write? How does that work?
Mm. Well, the reason I gave up nonfiction writing was because I just couldn't separate my brain, like the
Yeah.
left brain, right brain thing. I couldn't make it work. And so my yeah, I do my best work early in the mornings. So I try to wake up at about 5:30. I try. Most days I do. And then at least I get a few hours of writing in before I get pulled into emails and this and that and everything else. And then in the afternoon, I do go back and try and do a bit more writing.
So
I
do you,
still working on a process, I just
yeah.
wish
Well,
I could put
yeah,
it down.
exactly. And I don't know. I mean, I think it changes also by life and whatever is happening for us in
Yeah.
our lives too. But I always wish I'd been like an early morning. I'm not
You're
successful.
not? Okay.
I cannot get myself out of bed. Like the few times I've been able to get out of bed at like 6, I just sit at the computer and just try to wake up. So nothing good happens. But I think it's a wonderful. I mean, people talk about that sort of, and some people have that thing where they don't even have a cup of coffee, right? Because they use
Yeah.
that like your brain is in that interesting sort of intermediate state, the liminal state, when you can be very creative there.
Yeah, I find that. I find it's uncluttered in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just I also work much faster when it's in the morning. I do have a cup of coffee though.
Yeah, I don't even get out of bed almost without a cup of coffee. So
Right.
okay, so tell our listeners where they can find you and follow what's going on online. Do you have a website or Instagram? What's the best place to see you?
So yeah, so I'm going by my pen name, which is MJ Soni. And so Instagram is MJ Soni author. Substack is MJ Soni author. Facebook is the other way. It's author MJ Soni.
Okay, I know it's not funny. Yeah.
And then my website is MJ Soni author as well. So
Okay.
yeah,
And
it's all great.
we are going to be giving away a copy of the Masala Chai Mystery Club either on Instagram at Killer Women Podcast or over on Facebook at Danielle's Killer Women. And this was so fun. Thank you for
Thank
talking to
you.
me. It's such a lovely book and I'm excited it's a series. It feels like there's a lot more fun mischief this group can get up to. So,
And thank you so much. And also, by the way, I want to shout out to you because I totally fangirl over you.
oh, that's
I loved this. I loved the characters. I loved, oh God, the just the scariness of your
thank you.
yeah, the
Thank
surrogate and the baby and
you.
trying to find them. So
I
I
appreciate it.
loved it.
I'm now in that part where I'm trying to write the next book and going, oh my God, this is so hard. Why is this so hard? But anyway, but thank you. That's really sweet of you,
Thank
Manju. I
you.
appreciate that very much. But we will be giving away a copy of Masala Chai Mystery Club. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on Killer Women, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much, Danielle.